I had a little surprise I was going to play for him. This was April 2017. Yeah. See, I'm a leader. That's right, Miss Charlotte. Yeah, I listen and I learn. That's right. I listen and I learn. Now here's a video. Here's a recording. I want you guys to listen to it. And it's I would call it it's an SVP conversation is what it's labeled. Yeah, SVP Oh, Mr. Brian Baker. Good morning, sir. I'm going to play this morning. I want you guys to sit back and listen. I was going to play the first 4 minutes. But who knows what I may end up doing because it's powerful. It is so powerful. I want y'all to sit back, get your notepads out and listen. And what? Listen. And what? Listen and take what? Notes. And take what? Notes. Bill Bailey, Bill Howard, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. All right, here we go. Everybody ready? Here we go. Let me know how you hear the conversation.
If I know I'm going SVP, right? Me being you being me. So when I say I, I'm talking about I.
Do I say I?
I know I'm going SVP.
I know I'm going SVP.
Guys, can you hear it okay?
And I'm completely.
Great. So once we get to that point,
Thank you, Miss Howard.
then why would anything along the journey bother you? If you already know you're an SVP, why would you let anything along the way bother you? Why would somebody quitting in your business bother you? Why would somebody who comes in get you excited? Why would you spend all your time on one person? If you know you planted your flag that in this to be an SVP, if you have a GPS and you plan it from the destination from Sacramento to San Francisco, all you know is you need to get some gas along the way, you need to get some food along the way, you don't care who gets in and out of your car along the way, you have to get to San Francisco. Once you planted your flag to get to SVP, nothing along the journey should bother you. Now you are gonna have a flat tire and that's gonna piss you off a little bit, right? You are gonna have to do an oil change maybe along the way. You may get pulled over speeding a little bit too fast and you might have a little fender bender along the way, but you have to get to the destination. And if you've already made up your mind that you're going to be an SVP, then nothing along the way should ever stop you from getting where you need to go. I think the thing that really got my attention is to help me keep in the business, stay in the business for over 2 decades, is that the guy looked at me, one of the mentors that I had, and he said, let's say that we built your team of 1,000 people. And of 1,000 people, 999 people quit within the first year. He said, would that bother you? I said, yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme. That would true. I mean, I don't want to build a business where people are coming in and getting out, and they look at me like it didn't work. He said, let me give you a different perspective. He said, let's say we built you a team of 1,000 people and they all got 10 customers and then they quit. I said, okay. He said, now you have a team of 10 times 1,000. How much is that? I said, 10,000 customers. He said, now out of your phone bill, your gas bill, your electricity bill, your internet bill, your cable bill, out of all your bills, and let's say they all came to a total of $100. Now, can we say that all of our bills would come up to more than $100?
Yes.
Now, there's $100 times 10,000. What does that put you at? $1 million. Now, you have $1 million times 12 months. What is that? A $12 million business. He said, now, how do you feel? I said, excited. He says, you shouldn't. I said, why? He said, because the way you think right now, you'll be one of the 999 people that quit. And that changed my entire perspective. If you look at my downline of how many people got in and got 10 points and quit, got 50 points and quit, got to ETT and quit, got to ETL and quit, got to RVP and quit, got to RD and quit. 1 or 2 SVPs that came in the entire history of the company. There's only been 2 in 20 years that hit SVP and left the company. So I said, let me get to the other side. What got me in it, I never did network marketing in my life. I never did multi-level. I never did any other company. It's a very rare breed. I am. Because many people have been in a lot of other companies and have had the bottom pulled up underneath them. But the integrity of the founders, I learned very early. If I do this business, if Ray Provenzano died, I'd stay in it another 10 years to make sure he wasn't resurrected. And so long as the checks kept coming, I'm still coming with it. See, the founders and the integrity of this company, when you understand their work ethic and their grind and what they do to be able to make this thing work, they can't make any money unless we make money. So no matter what mistakes or challenges you have with digital, what challenges you have with Flash, what challenges you have with gas and electricity, or whatever you've had with people that have come and gone in your organization and will come and go in your organization, you have to make the decision that you're going to be one of the pillars of the brick and mortar. This company will be around. I've been in this game for 22 years. And in 22 years, when I started in the industry, there was over 5,000 companies in the industry of network marketing. 5,000 companies that were in this industry. Of those 5,000 companies, 22 years ago, less than 30 of them exist today.
Wow.
Less than 30 of them. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, that is crazy.
So when you understand that dynamic from somebody who's not a founder, but places himself as a founder of building and being a part of the pillage. Is everybody following that so far?
Yeah.
You got to understand, I don't care what opportunity you hear about anything else, you need to be part of what's going to create the next 50, 60, 70, 100 years. Because the founders, they work harder than everybody else in this company, and I work harder than anybody else on the planet. So knowing what they do on top of building the business environment that is for us to succeed. Your job is not to guarantee somebody's success. Your job is to guarantee somebody's environment for them to win. Now I'm gonna say that again. Too many people come in and feel like they're committed to helping everybody succeed, and I want everybody to win, and when they don't, I need to go elsewhere. Your job is never to guarantee somebody's success. Your job is to guarantee them an environment that is conducive for them to succeed if they choose powerfully to succeed. You might get that.
Yes.
Think about it from this perspective. You got a membership to a 24-hour fitness. You got a membership to a life gym or any of those. After you got the membership, how many times did they call you? They didn't. The gym is there. Now, whether you want to work out in there or not is totally up to you. That's not our job to call you and see if you're coming. Everybody get that?
Yeah.
So, but you have to make sure you lead with that example and that conversation with each person you bring into the business. So I'm giving you, to me, the best way to be able to truly drive your organization and drive it to the next level. Now, too many times I'm going to tell you one of the biggest fault lines when a person is building their business and they're trying to help everybody on their team. You cannot help everybody. Even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar cannot put more than 3 people on his back at one time. That's why we keep using the cliche that it's easier to run with 3 than to drag 1,000. Before you sponsor a leader, you have to become a leader. There's 3 levels of leadership, so you're very clear. First level of leadership is I must become the leader that people want to follow. I must be a leader. Everything about this is about how you lead. Is everybody with me? There's a second level of leadership, which eliminates 80% of the population. The second level of leadership where people lose huge in a big way, they've never learned how to identify a leader. You can't identify a leader because you haven't become a leader. You can be an aspiring leader, you can think you're a leader, but trust me, how many people would love to attract somebody 3 times better than you? Then that means you got to become 3 times better. Because I don't care if you make $50,000 a year, the only people you can attract are people that make a maximum of $60,000. A person that's making $200,000 a year is not going to follow you making $50,000 a year. They may say hi to you, kick it with you, maybe have a drink after work at best if they're trying to help you or mentor you, but they aren't hanging out with people that make $50,000 a year. People that make $200,000 a year aren't hanging out with people that make $500,000 a year. They have different conversations. People that make $1 million a year are not hanging out with people that make $500,000 a year, because they'll know that gravitational pull will pull them down into the vortex of making that kind of money and those type of problems. They're like, hold on, they're listening to you say, well, I got this challenge today. People that make $500,000 don't have those problems that people that are making under 100,000 have. Is everybody following that so far? So the better you want, the better people you want to attract, the better you have to become. That's why we keep telling you, you got to become better. Not it has to get easier, you have to get better. The same challenges you have with customers and products and services, everybody at SVP has the same problems. They just learned how to have a deaf ear and be very focused on where they're going. Is that making sense? Let's say you have a team of 12 people on your team, or 5 people on your team, or 20 people on your team, or 100 people on your team, or thousands of people on your team. You still should never be working with more than 3 people at one time. You should never be working with more than 3 people at one time. When you get extraordinary at this game, you can become a Shane Douglas. And you work on 1 leg a year and blow it out the water. But he didn't do that until he mastered being able to attract the leaders that he's looking to attract. How many people in here even know who Shane Douglas is? Show hands. Okay, I want to make sure, because he's one of the greatest hidden jewels in the company. See, he's one of those people that's almost on the verge, if not there already, of what we call a myth. That's where I aspire to go. My job is to become a myth. That means you never see me, but all you do is hear my name and hear who I am through my downline. That's the game. Shane takes a year off, works a year, takes 2-3 years off, works a year. Mike Pasuti, right on the brink of myth. Has taken 4 or 5 years off, found a woman that was #1 model at Victoria's Secrets, left, made $1 million contract out of his wife, who actually went and got the multi-million-dollar contract, working for 3 months, gave them all the money back and still disappear for 6 months, have 5 kids, and that's all they do. Do 1 training a year and call it a day. That's called a myth. That's what this business does for you. If you put in 3 to 5 years of hell work to get 50 years of your life back, you can do whatever you want to do. And it goes so fast, but you have to have decided right now that this is where my journey starts. When I graduate, I want to be on any beach, any island, anywhere I want to be, but you got to work like hell for 3 to 5 years. Does that make sense, everybody? As you have those 3 people that you're pouring into, you got to identify, but you have to have real conversations. So hypothetically, I'm going to go to Shadi and I'm going to say, look, Shadi, you're on my team. I got about 12 people on my team. I want to know, do you want to be an SVP?
Yes.
She says yes. So what we're going to do is I'm going to actually write out a 2-week contract. I work in 2-week contracts. So I'm going to see if you show up for the next 2 weeks. This is more so for Jocelyn and Carrie and Brad and for people that are TC and above. But I'm going to give it to you so that you guys can actually carry it out. I don't work past 2 weeks with somebody because they'll let us down. A month, you counted on one person for a month and your whole dream has been shattered. We've lost a month. If we work with the wrong person for a month, we could lose $10, $20, $30,000. So I need to know with Shadia, I'm stretching it because I only want to give you a 7-day contract, but I'm going to give you 2 weeks. And so if you're working with a TC or higher, I'm telling them they need to write up a contract and say, for 2 weeks, we're going to go to work. You're going to act like an SVP for 2 weeks. I want to see if you want to show up on Saturday training early, stay late after it's over, help clean up, help straighten up, help close, sneak in and become an eavesdropper. I want you to actually become that person that we call that eavesdropper, that hustler, that is actually, we call them an eavesdropper hustler. That's what they are. So it's like, if I don't have any guests and I see Rod over here with 5 people, I should be over here as a team trainer recording, because I don't know how to deal with somebody who don't have no money. Okay, I don't have $4.99. How do you deal with somebody that got no money, but they want to do the business? Oh, okay, let me record that. How do I deal with somebody who is a phlebotomist and they don't have any time because they're working in practice? I need to record that. How to deal with somebody who just moved to the marketplace and they don't understand how to do the business with their time schedule and they don't know anybody in the market? I need to record that. How do I get somebody to be able to do a PBR immediately? I need to record that. And I'm going to Shadi and say, for the next 2 weeks, we're going to act like we're already SVP. We're going to do everything right. Because just doing the action is not going to produce a result, but it's going to create a muscle and a habit. So I want to know that you're going to be at the weekly meeting. I'm going to check and see if you're there 30 minutes early. If you're a minute late, that's 1 check mark. If you get 3 check marks, we're done. My job is to either build you up or replace you as quickly as possible. So you're going to get 2 weeks out of me. In those 2 weeks, I want to see if you're here on Saturday training, you're here early. And I want to see if you have guests with you, because it's going to be my responsibility to work with you. I need a copy of your list yet. I want it to power 25, and I want that list growing. I'm going to check every other day to see that you put new people on that list. And that the ones that are not interested, we replace it, that we always have a top 25 list. On that list, I want the name, I want the address, meaning their email address. I want their number, I want their cell number on there. I want the animal, are they a shark or well, a dolphin? I want to know exactly what their vocation is. I want to know their race. I want to know if they got 2 jobs or 1 job. I want to know their family. Are they single or are they married? I want to know as much, because that's the list, that's the blueprint. I'm acting as if I'm running this hospital, or I'm running this hotel, and I need somebody to run this hotel. So I need to find somebody to employ that's going to act as if they own the hotel, so that as they actually learn every aspect of the hotel, I can turn it over to them and will it to them, and now they can start building new hotels. So I'm not hiring you just to be able to do, a server in the restaurant. I'm not hiring you just to be able to make the beds as a maid. I'm not hiring you to just help clean up the room. I'm hiring you to run the hotel so I can actually help you own the hotel. So I just need to know, are you up for that game? Because that means there's going to be plumbing problems. You're going to have to get out of bed. There's going to be challenges with the food. You're going to have to stay late. There's going to be a customer who doesn't like their bill. You're going to have to be there longer hours. I'm looking for that person that wants full responsibility, the ability to respond to any problem that happens in this business. I'm looking for a CEO, a 5-star general, a mentality of somebody who is deserving of 6 figures in their first year. That if you have to reverse places with me, Shadia, that you actually have the checkbook in your hand and you got to write me a $10,000 check every month. Now, are you going to show up as if you had to hire yourself and pay yourself $10,000 a month, if you look at the last 30 days, would you have paid yourself $10,000 a month? Hell to no. Most of you would not, if not all of you, except maybe 2 people in this room. Is everybody getting that conversation?
Yeah.
But if you had to write the check out of your bank account of $10,000 to pay yourself for the work you put in for the last 30 days, each one of you would have fired yourself after the 3rd day. But we push reset, so we aren't going to ponder there. We're going to start over for the next 90 days because it's going to take 90 days just to create a muscle and learn how to do everything right. I want to see your schedule, Shetty. I want to know what day are you doing the PBR this week, and you are not going to fail at having at least 10 people in that PBR. I don't care if you have, what position you now, Shetty?
TC.
I'm a TC. Now, how many people you have that are in this room?
5.
5 people. A TC, you need at least 600 points, which means you need at least 60 active bodies. And I only have 5 people that are here, and they're probably in how many legs?
3.
They're in 3 legs.
Yeah.
And how many would you call a leader?
1, 2.
You have 2 leaders. The 5 people on Shad's team, stand up right now.
Well, they left.
Then you don't have 5 leaders, you have 2 potentials. Now I'm left with 2 people because 3 people don't count because they aren't even here. So now I got my 2. Did you do a PBR last week? Sit down. Did you do a PBR last week? Down. You don't have a team. You're a TC with no team. Now they have potential, they're here. So we're pushing reset. So that's the first thing I'm looking at. Did you do a PBR last week? Okay, there goes the example right there. I am not the leader that people want to follow because I'm not being the example. Strike, right out the rip. Now I can use everybody here as an example. I'm using a TC. What about you and your business? So I'm looking at it. We're going to start all over with my 2 people right here. Here's the checklist. I need you to duplicate this. As I'm talking to Shadi, and Shadi is talking to them, I'm saying, okay, everything that I have, you're recording, and you're going to go back and listen to this recording. You guys are going to go back through it. Then I'm going to look at my 2 people again and say, are you registered for the national right now on the books? Are you registered? Are you registered? So I got 1 out of 2. There's another strike. If you're serious, you'll be registered before the next 48 hours. If you need another week when your check comes in, have it registered or know that you're canceled off my list. I need to find somebody else who's going with it. Period. That's non-negotiable. You aren't going to the national, you aren't doing the business. You're immediately setting yourself up for failure. You're actually going to class knowing you aren't even going to go and take the final exam. So I got PBR right off the rip. I got national right off the rip. Does anybody follow me in this conversation? I want a list from each one of them. That means if I'm getting a list from you and we're starting over, you need 3 driving lines. We are not going to stop. You can have a conversation with them and ask them if they're going to be your 2 driving lines or if we need to replace them and they're going to follow this conversation for the next 2 weeks. I'm going to give you a 2-week conversation. What's the second layer of the land?
Duplication.
Duplication. So if I'm giving you a 2-week contract, what are you supposed to do with your 2 people? Give them the same thing, a contract with them. What are you duplicating? Everything you duplicate that is great will happen, and everything you duplicate that is bad will happen. I want to know that they're going to be at every training for the next couple of weeks. I want to know they're going to be at every briefing for the next couple of weeks. I want to know they got a PBR set up every week. I want to make sure that they actually are looking at their back office. I want to be reading the same book that they're reading. So whatever book is prescribed, I like 2 books right off the rip. One is Developing a Leader Within. The other one is Developing a Leader Around You, and that's by John Maxwell. Because either you are not a leader and you need to figure out what a leader looks like, which is developing the leader within, or you can read the book that took me to RVP, which is developing the leaders around you. If I'm a TC or above, you're probably already identifying yourself as a leader. You don't need to know that you're a leader, so you should be reading Developing the Leader Around You. Go back and read it again. Is this making sense? Yes. And with because I'm only working with 3 people. If I don't have 3 people, I'm looking for 3 people. We're going to be reading the same thing because we're going to go through this together. Does that make sense? Yes. Every 3 days, we're going to review what we read. We're going to read a chapter a day. Every 3 days, we went through 3 chapters. Let's go through what you highlighted. I'm going to sit down with them and I'm going to talk for about a half hour to 45 minutes. What did you highlight in your book? No, it's not a big discussion. I don't want to hear about your epiphanies and your aha moments. I want to know what you highlighted. We read the 7 chapters, so I don't need to know. We don't need to have a whole lot of conversation, the story behind the conversation. I highlighted this in the first chapter. I highlighted this in the first chapter. Ah, that's what stood out to you. So you recognize this, you recognize that, you recognize this. You got 2 weeks to prove to me that I should be working with you. I'm going to review it every 7 days. So in 14 days, either you're going to be replaced or you're going to raise up. It's one or the other. During that 2 weeks, I'm Shadia. My goal is to find 3 other people to replace them with, preferably through their organization if they haven't stepped up to have another 2-week conversation with somebody in their organization. But if they do not, if they're so weak that they aren't bringing anybody to the table, then I'm going to go into phase 1 and place somebody strategically in that organization. I'm going to say, Nicole, hi, this is
Wendy.
Wendy, this is excellent. Now you guys know each other, so now you've just sponsored her and you don't have to worry about stacking. I'm putting you underneath her. I'm working with you. See if I get that conversation. Okay? I'm gonna make sure I make the introduction so nothing comes from the company of compliance that I didn't know this person, I was just put somewhere. Y'all are now friends. And if you got a problem with me being able to build your organization, tell me up front so I can go and put them somewhere else and you can stay broke and I can dial that line out. Does that make sense, everybody? Yes. I'm gonna drive a leg until I can't drive it anymore. You don't need 5, 6, 7 lines, you only need 3. And you need to drive one like a freight train and learn how to taproot. So how do I learn how to taproot? You need to read the 45-second presentation that will change your life by Don Faber.
Tom Faber.
You need to go through that and drive it like a freight train. If I am now with Shadia and I'm teaching her how to be an RVP, my goal is to teach her the marketing plan. So I'm going to ask her, as I asked last night, how do you hit RV? How do you hit TC? Because if I start a job, the first thing I want to know is how I'm going to get paid. I don't understand how people get into this business because I didn't have an upline. Maybe I was blessed and cursed, but I didn't get into this business without knowing how to hit every position in the company. All I got consumed with was how do you hit RVP? I needed 5 team coordinators with 1,000 customers in each line, and I still did that. Larry Raskin had the same partnering plan. Listen what I just said. I'm talking fast. That's why you record. So you can go back and play rewind. When I started, Larry Raskin was already a Circle of Champions RVP. Him and a guy named Stuart Top. Stuart Top was one of my leaders, that was one of the people who I followed. I followed Larry and I followed Stuart. Stuart was my teacher. Larry, I studied from afar. If you can't tell, I have the same demeanor as Larry does. I'm a very direct person, a very cutthroat person. This is the way it is. Don't like it. Either get on the road and become part of the payment or roll with me. It's real simple. Does that make sense, everybody? Yep. I said it worked for him and it was going to work for me. Back then, you needed 5 legs at 1,000 customers in 5 separate legs to be an RVP. Today, you need 4 legs with 600 points in each line. I look at it and say 600 points is about 300 customers. 300 customers times 4 is 1,200 customers. Back then, we needed 5,000 customers to be an RVP, and we still all did it in under 2 years. Today, you need 1,200 customers, and it takes people a lifetime to get there. Freaking amazing to me. 5,000 separate customers. When Larry Raskin and Stuart Top hit RVP, which they did it in, by the time they hit RVP in 2 years, they had 9 RVPs in 5 lines straight down. And they had literally 5 frontline RVPs. Actually, they did that in 9 months. I apologize. They hit RVP in 9 months. I met them in 2 years. In 2 years, they had 9 RVPs, and each one of the 5 were frontline, and they had 4 others underneath. At 5,000 customers a person. That's how bad Larry Raskin and Stuart were in working their business. So when people complain about the customers and this, that, and the other, it just mentally messes me up today. Because we did that in our sleep. We just drove production. It was non-negotiable. I remember Stuart telling me clearly, look, if somebody has to talk to me after 90 days of me working with them, I don't ever need to talk to them again in my life. My phone should never ring after 90 days. My job is to turn them into a leader in 90 days and run an independent machine, a store that's running by itself, independent of me. It says at the top of the application, independent representative, not dependent representative. And that stuck with me. How some of you guys are still babying people after 6, 7 months, 6, 7 years, holding their hand. That's why you go broke, because you're holding the wrong person's hand. And it's because of the environment. It's not the environment in here. The environment starts at the PBR. The environment starts in the one-on-one. The environment starts launching somebody. The environment starts with their mind when you first start them out. We got a 2-week contract. You said you're excited. How fast? I mean, it's little things that you need to learn. I did this last day in the leadership. I said, what's the first thing that you say to people when they're ready to get started in the business? I got about 5 different answers. Is that about right? Right. That means that everybody's making a Big Mac differently. If your system is not duplicating itself over and over and over again, you got 5 people making the wrong mistake. Then by the time you get to 50, you got a messed up machine. When a person, she just saw the business, she saw it today. Many of you had somebody see the business today. Your first question should have been, I saw some of you outside. Who had a guest that was sitting outside? Who had a guest that you were talking to him outside? Were you talking to him? Okay. You were talking to him? You were talking to him. You were in the train last night. You were talking to him last night? You had a guest here today, right? But you had a guest, right? Was anybody excited?
Yeah, both of them.
Both of them excited. What's the first thing you said to him?
He said, what do you like most about what you said?
See, now I'm gonna sell a car. I only got about 2 minutes for the rest of this training. Is that right with me, so far? I'm selling you a car. If I sold you a car right now, you're on my lot, and I'm a professional. Do I really care if you like the car?
No.
I only care if you buy the car. Yes or yes?
Yes.
Okay. Why would I ask you what you like about the car? What did you like about it? I don't care if you like the car. Do you want to buy the freaking car? Either you're in or you're out. So my first question is to be able to buy or solicit the response that I'm looking for. So I'm asking you right now, you just got started, you saw this today, you were your guest, and you're sitting outside. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Excellent. Here's my question to you. How quickly do you want to make money?
Right now.
That's all you should ever ask right after a person sees the opportunity. That's it. Once they say right now, they gave you permission to slice their throat. When is a person most excited? When they first see the opportunity. When is a person most coachable? When they first see the opportunity. When will a person submit to do everything you need them to do? When you first show them the opportunity. Every day after that, they start to think for themselves. But it's because you allow them. So you can't say that your team is messed up because you got the wrong people. You're not the right person. They're the right person. You don't know how to lead them. Because once I ask you, how quickly you want to make money? And he says right now, great. So for the next 48 hours, we're going to go and break down walls together. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. We're going to get you qualified. You're going to understand the products through internal consumption. We're going to set up a PBR. We're going to set up a schedule for the next 14 days. And I'm going to sit down and give you a contract because I'm going to give up time for my son. I'm going to give up time for my family. I'm going to take time off my job. I'm going to be your 7-11 for the next 2 weeks. If you're serious, I don't care whether you have the money or not. We'll talk about that when we sit down and launch you tonight or tomorrow. So if you don't have the money, we need to make your money back before you get started. If you have the money, then we're going to get you started immediately. You can put it on a credit card. We'll talk about all that. But I want you to be very clear. I'm not interested in your $500. I'm interested in making you $500 a day. In fact, I want to make you $750 this week. But I need to know you're going to show up for work before I show up for you. Can we have an agreement?
Yeah.
Great. Are you available tonight or tomorrow on Easter? I know it's Easter, but church is over by 12, 1 o'clock. Dinner's at 4. Can we talk at 7 if you can meet tonight?
Yeah.
Excellent. Work starts right now. What's your conversation with your people? Because I'm leading the conversation. For the next 2 weeks, you can't say anything except to allow me to prove to you that I'm worthy of you following me. If that makes sense, everybody?
Yes.
We're down to 4 minutes. I'm only going to use one. Is everybody when we say aye?
Yeah.
Aye.
Now, in understanding the marketing plan of going team coordinator, I want him to understand the entire marketing plan. I ask people, what do you take to get to team coordinator? I've gotten so many answers. It takes 600 points. You need to understand that the average rep is going to get 10 points. 10 points divided into 600 gives you 60 reps. 60 reps counted down into 3 legs means 20 in each leg. If you just knew that you can't get to 10 grand a month and that you're in this business to make 10 grand a month, then in turn, you can't explain this. 10 reps, if you're talking about 60, we can do that in 1 month or we can do that in 6 months. That's 10 reps a month for 6 months and 10 grand a month, or it's in the next 90 days, however quickly you want to do it. Okay, so I just told you what it is. Now I'm going to tell you how to do it. But first, I need you to tell me, we need 60 reps. They're going to get qualified with 10 points. And how fast do you want to do that? Do you want to do it in 90 days? You want to do it in 180 days? Or do you want to do it in 9 months and give birth to a child? You tell me, because I'm going to run with you. But don't let me be more committed to your dream than you're committed to your own. So now we know we got to put 60 people in the business, and we understand breaking that down, path of least resistance. How is that going to happen? I need a PBR machine. I need an ETT machine. A PBR should immediately result in an ETT. Let me tell you that again, because many of you guys are just doing PBRs. When you do them, and most of you aren't doing it, a PBR should result in an ETT. That's what an ETT machine is. It's a PBR machine. You should not be doing a PBR without a goal of hitting ETT. 2 people, 8 customers. You should have 10 people in the room. Some people are only going to have 7. Some are only going to have 6. Does everybody follow me on that so far? Yeah. Some are going to have 12. Some are going to have 30. It depends on the influence of the leader. Everything falls and dies or rises and shines on the leadership. If you and I start a business, Shadi, and Oprah joined it, would it blow up?
Yes.
Would it blow up because of what we're doing or who she is? You need to recruit up, which means you need to keep finding people that are greater than the person that you recruit. Stop trying to save the world and go broke doing it. Did that make sense?
Yes.
Of course your business is broke. You keep attracting broke people. You're trying to help everybody. You can't help anybody until you help yourself. Then I understand an ETT is 15 points, and I understand an ETL is 50 points. 50 points for an ETL, 50 divided into 200 gives me 4. 4 into 3 legs means I need 12 people that want to make a comma check this month, starting with 3. 3 will lead me to 1 more. Because to be able to have an ETL, that means I have 6 people in there, and I'll find one who wants to make $1,000 again. You don't need to put 12 in, you just need 3. 3 will lead you with 12 people, with 8 people, with 6 people, you'll find one more person. So you might get that conversation. I know I'm talking fast, but I got to close out. Is everybody getting this? Yes or yes?
Yes.
If I help her go ETL, she got 1, 2, she's got 2 people, she's got 2 people, that's 6 people. One of these 6 people want to get paid fast. I'm not trying to work with all 6. I'm just trying to find the one. I'm going to make sure that she knows your job is to go take these other 5 people, get them qualified off my books, and find the one person who wants to run. Not help all 5 of these. How do I do this? All these people, and they ask me so many questions, I'm overwhelmed. Why? You don't even have a team. How are you going to deal with 600 people? You can't deal with 6. That's insane. I'm not trying to help everybody. I want the one person who wants to run the fastest and create another story. That's going to give everybody else, the other 5 people, a can of act right. Then I'm going to talk to the other 5. Sooner or later, they're going to say, you know what? I want a contract. Because you're going to have someone say, I don't know if I can. I don't know this. I don't know that. I got a busy schedule. Bless you. I got to do this. I got to do that. Great. Contract's not for you. I got 6 people. I just need one person who wants to make $1,000 going to turn to 10. That's me. Let's go. Let's sign up this contract next. I review the contract in 2 weeks. I'm having a conversation with you. Let's go through your checklist. You've been replaced. I got somebody else. Just know you need to follow me as much as you can because I'm going to replace you again if I need to. But if you step up, then in turn, there's a chance that the 2 of us can work together and build a dynasty. Did that make sense to everybody? Yes. Everybody get that? Yes or yes? Yes. Training is over. I love you guys. We got to get out of this room.
Wow. What'd you guys pick up? Pick up. What'd you pick up? That was powerful. That was April of 2017. Conversation of an SVP. Now, I'm going to highlight this. I'm opening the phone lines up. There was 3 things. Everybody remember what the 3 things was? Number 1, I'll give you a hint. You must become a leader that people want to follow. Ask yourself this. Would you follow you? You probably say, yeah. I didn't ask you if you're going to follow you. I said other people follow you. What have you demonstrated to be a leader worthy of following? No. It's got nothing to do how cute you look, how handsome you may. No. You know, apple don't fall too far from the tree. What does your pedigree say? What does your organization look like right now? Number 2, he said, let's move on. Identify a leader. Identify a leader. To identify a leader, you must first of all be a leader. Now I know everybody in the call say they're a leader, but it's like the old saying, the old man was on the beach walking, he turned around, he thought God was when he looked around, there was nobody back there. How many footsteps are following you? Wow, you must become better. He said this, you must become better. And I'll say it again, you must become better to attract those people. You got to be what? Better. What was the 3rd thing you said on that, of the 3 things? I'm going to stop there. I got 2. What's the 3rd one? Take your phone off mute and put it in the chat. What's the 3rd thing? What's the 3rd thing? What's the 3rd thing? You must become a leader that people must want to follow, number 1. Number 2, to identify a leader, you must be a leader for them to identify. And you must become better to attract those people. What was number 3? Oh, nobody was taking notes but me? I love what Shaquille Cooper talked about. You know, he had nothing. He had nothing to do with it. His 3rd leader that he popped, all these RVPs popped up. Mr. Shaquille Cooper talked about it Wednesday. He said, look, my RVP, I'm gonna talk like him. My RVP that popped up in my organization. Watch what he said. I had nothing to do with it. They took the system and ran with the system. He said that many times in other conversations. He had nothing to do with it. He trained them how to do a system. Wow. How many RVPs are, think about it. He trained them to do a system. They did, he said, what they said 2 conversations back, they did it without me. Become a myth. Did it without me. He made them independent, not dependent. See, here's what happened. People think they got to have, this is my people, these are my people. And then you try to do your own training and guess what? They all die. Because you're not training them into a system. Man, less and less I talk to my leaders, the better I like it. You know why? Because they understand the system. And that's one of the key right there is let them be who they are. Wow. Then he said, oh, nobody's gonna put number 3. I'm not gonna say number 3. I'm gonna let y'all go back to the recording and listen to it. It'll be posted later today on Destiny International. He said this: how quickly do you want to start making money? I like that. How quickly do you want to start making money? That's only if you're serious. I like that part. He said this: you also must be worthy for people to want to follow you. You need to have a Zoom machine and an RVP machine. Wow. And some of you listen to this. I've had a conversation with some of you this week. Some of you are going after everybody and everybody. Nope, you gotta, what do you say? You gotta recruit up. I mean, I've been doing a lot of calls for people. It's like, they're not the ones. Where you get this person? Throw that minnow back in the ocean. We need a fish, not a minnow. We need to get not everybody. No, not everybody. That's what he said. Recruit up. So get this, recruit up. What are you scared of? Look, especially today, everybody who you think got money ain't got money. Trust me. And those that have some, they want to be able to stay home. You know, like I said, I moved from a Lamborghini, Ferrari, Jaguar, Bentley neighborhood into a pickup truck neighborhood. There's nothing wrong with pickup trucks. There ain't nothing wrong with it. But recruit up. I had to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. I'm uncomfortable right now. Next week on Tuesday and Wednesday at 4 o'clock, we're going to do the same flip chart, have some more fun doing training on how to read it, how to read it. It's amazing how many people who got position can't read it. Then that's why your group's not growing, because you're not relaying it to people who can understand it. Does that make sense? All right, phone line's open for about 5 or 10 minutes. Unlock your phone or either put in the chat, what did you like about what you heard today? What did you learn? What you learned? What you learned? What you learned? What did you learn? 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 Phone lines are open. Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Julian Lewis in San Diego.
Yes, sir.
What one of the things I learned is what I loved about it, and listening to it, is that see, sometimes as leaders we can be upset with what our team isn't doing, and focus on the people that aren't doing something. And what I loved about that talk is that he was laser focused on what a leader needs to do if they want to be successful. So he wasn't talking to the people that aren't, he was talking to the person that needed to hear what he was saying, to elevate that person versus trying to beat a dead horse with people that are already dead. And so that conversation was in 2017. It sounded familiar to me, like I felt like I was in that room or I had heard it before, not sure. But I do know that energy that you have when you're in phase 1 leads to that type of conversation. So that's what I was able to glean from it. If you want to be able to have that talk, you got to be in phase 1, and you want to speak to the life of the new leader instead of trying to raise from the dead people that are still around that just haven't closed their eyes yet, if that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
So that's what I took
Lewis.
Big notes from that.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis, because that's so important. See, that was, I think it was called SVP conversation. See, in other words, like Mr. Lewis said, that conversation wasn't for everybody. It was not for everybody. It wasn't for the ones in the middle of the pack or the behind the pack. It's the one who's on top who wants to get to the top. So it was a conversation of leadership for SVP conversation. Yeah. All right, who else? Somebody from the Matrix group had their hand up, and then we had Mr. Curry. Please take your phone off mute. You know, I would go back, if I were you, hint, hint, I would go back to Destiny International later today and listen to it over, stop, listen to it over, stop it, write it down, play it, stop it, write it. You know, I used to call it repeat and repeat. We used to do that a long time ago. I'd wear it out until I got good at it. Who else want to share what they got out of today's recording? I'm trying to surprise him. He surprised us, but we still got to bless it, didn't we? Who else want to share what they got out today?
Hey, Mr. Thomas, can you hear me? It's Maya
Yes, dear.
from Matrix. Hey.
Hey, Maya.
So, hi. It's kind of going along with what Mr. Julian Lewis was just saying. I've been finding I'm spending too much time on trying to, what did he say? Stop trying to save the world and you're going to go broke yourself. That's what's been happening for myself. And on top of that, the conversation when they say, okay, I want to join. Well, the conversation he had like a role play in that training where he asked someone, how quickly do you want to make your money back? He said fast. Okay, well, this is a game plan, 48 hours. And it was so thorough and not confusing. And I think that's the part I'm adding too much. It was just really great. I gained a lot of keys from this. I will rewatch this training. So thank you for playing it.
You're very welcome, Myra. You know what happens? We don't have parameters. We need to set parameters. Instead of having this much dialogue, we need to have our dialogue just refined to just right here in your lane, and that's all you need. And the less is better. And I can't exemplify that enough, because when we're quiet, we think something's wrong. We always got to be talking. Shut up. And I don't know how much of time you can't gain a new IBO when your mouth is running. You gain by listening. And I'm a firm believer. That's why the good Lord gave us 2 of these. And one of these, to listen twice as much as we talk to them, give me all the information how to get them. So Myra, thank you so much. That was a great point, dear. Thank you. And I'm loving seeing that you're growing from this call. Thank you so much for being on it. Thank you so much for your input. And you're going to get better at it, dear. That's all it is practice. Practice makes us better. God bless you. Thank you so much. Who else want to share what they got on today's call?
Good morning, Mr. Thomas. Dwayne from Toronto, Canada.
Toronto, Canada. Yes, sir.
One of the things that really I've tried to practice more is being more laser focused with the numbers and making it very simple. So when he gives you using the 10 times 100 times 1,000 gives you this divided by whatever your percent, then you know the numbers. It's easy to remember. It's easy to teach that to your team. And when you understand it better, you can explain it better, and it makes the process so much simpler.
Thank you, sir, for saying that.
Fantastic.
It's a simple process. It's not a whole lot. Look at our presentation. It's only 10 boxes. First of all, how do you screw up 10 boxes? I don't get that. I mean, hello, I don't get that. What I really don't get is how you cannot read it. I mean, after I do this with people, it's like, oh my God, it's just read this. They want to add. It's like, oh my God, no wonder you're still stuck. It's so simple, Jim Rohn. So simple what to do. It's also so simple not to do. So yeah, keep it simple, sir. I appreciate that. That's amazing. I'm glad you got that. Mr. Sam Foster, we're going to hear from you tonight, but go ahead, sir. I see your hand up.
Okay. Now, one thing I learned for the team is speed and exposure, exposing yourself. You have to be willing to get out there amongst the people. You have to be willing to flow. It's almost like being water. You have to be able to flow, just like a river does. But if you don't expose yourself, you can't flow.
There you go. Man, I can't wait till tonight on Happy Hour to hear you talk tonight on Happy Hour. And it's so true. I mean, some of us, and God bless you, some of you, you're scared of that situation out there. I get that. But you still got a telephone. You still got names in your phone. You still got numbers of people you can contact. Some of you have done PBRs a year and a half ago. You still got the list of names and numbers. I know Mr. Chris King and Ms. Rose Guerrero going through a bunch of numbers and names and finding success. Ms. Evelyn Phibbs just texted a minute ago, and Fresno Regional Director. She got 3 people that want to run with her right now in ACN. That's what I'm talking about. But like Sam Foster said, if you're not out in the river, you're not out there talking to people, you ain't gonna get them. Look, here's my list of things to do. I got to stop by my CPA's office, sign some paperwork, send a check out. I'm gonna stop by the seafood market to get some fresh seafood. I got to stop at Sam's gas station to get some gas. I've got to go to the Mexican restaurant I'm gonna cook this weekend, and I got to send out mail. So here's my list. I'm gonna be out to talk to people. How do you not get a name and number 2 a day? I just don't get that. I mean, I understand some of you still frightened, and some of you say, well, Al, I'm over a certain age. I understand that. But you still got a telephone. You still got a whole bunch of relatives you ain't talked to yet. I know some of you don't want to talk to. And you got names and numbers in your phone that you still have not contacted. And I guarantee you probably find some out of them because they want to stay home too. Thank you so much for that, Mr. Foster. Mr. Ismail, yes, sir. Mr. Ismail, take your phone off mute. All right, anybody else?
Mr. Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Thomas.
Yes, sir.
Yes, hi. I just found out, and in the back office, there is a whole dialogue that you said already. You can print the dialogue and put it in the mirror and repeat it to yourself, so you can look at yourself and what you're doing. I'm an actor, so I do it that way. It's easier for me because, especially when English is my second language. So
Yes.
Mrs. Kiko's in Japan. She can do it. I'm very, very surprised, very awe of what she does in Japanese. You know.
I'm in awe what she gets, and I ask her all the time to come do the presentation because let me tell you why. It's her second language, like English is your second language as well. But that should show every one of you on here, what's your excuse? Because to me, I hate to say it, but I'm gonna be very blunt. It's nothing but an excuse. You say you want the better things, but you're not putting the time in to learn the trade that you have. Who said that? Mr. Dean Terrell said you need 10,000 hours to become a professional. Shaquille, so you're not there, not you, sir, but people on this line, I want you there. Why do you think next Tuesday, Wednesday, again, Mr. B. Clemens, with his permission, it's 4 o'clock Pacific Coast, we're gonna read it again. There's RDs that can't even read it. It blows my mind. It's just read it, don't add nothing to just. Anyway, thank you so much, sir, for saying that. Thank you. Man, that should be motivation in itself. Next question. Anybody else want to share what they got out of this morning? We got a couple more minutes.
Yes, Mr. Thomas, this is Pat Robinson.
Yes,
I
dear.
like when he said, not all you're supposed to do is not to guarantee someone's success. You're to guarantee them an environment, a successful environment. And stop pulling on the wrong people. Stop focusing on just one person when you have a whole lot of people, you know.
Yeah, thank you. Greg Parmesan said, look, we give people a couple things, an even track to run on and a winning environment. Greg Parmesan have said this 10,000 times. Everybody should get this in. Hey, we give everybody a winning track to run on and an environment to be successful. We gave the environment is here. Who else out? Myra, yes, Matrix out there, yes. Thank you, Ms. Pat Robinson. Matrix organization. All right, one more person.
Hey, Mr. Al Thomas. So I'm learning a lot about this leadership role and just understanding how important it is to build your team. Is it safe to say that once you're helping others make money, you've stepped into that leadership role? Or what does it consist of?
You do. Like he said, your job, okay, he does a 2-week contract. Let's run for the next 90 days. And let's see if it's like boot camp. Let's see if you make it through the 90 days and doing the things I give you. Now, grant you, when you go to boot camp, push-ups are not sexy. Taking a 5-mile run in the morning at 5 o'clock in the morning is not sexy. But see, it's getting you in shape to become a leader. So at the end of the week or two, you know what you got to go do to produce what you got to produce. And, you know, in the beginning, it's always horrible. You know, it's always horrible. You know, getting up at 4 in the morning was not happy. My body was like, no way, Jose, I'm up at 6. No, we're getting up at 4. You know, so it's pushing yourself to become that person. And then as you become that person, you'll attract the kind of people you want around you. I had a conversation, I'm not here putting anybody on the spot, with a guy the other day. And recently I said, man, you got to attract better quality people. You just can't get, you know, Tom, Dick, and Harry, but the qualification, in other words, you need to recruit up. And once you recruit up and getting quality people like yourself, it makes the job easy. So yes, developing yourself along the way is going to help you develop and attract the right kind of people to your business. And they want to be around you because of who you are. Does that make sense? I mean, I can live anywhere. See, where I live does not define who Al Thomas is. What defines Al Thomas is what's inside of Al Thomas. I had a deep conversation with Mr. Brian Baker yesterday. I said, look, I had to take off. Let me show y'all something. I had to take off 10 days and speak with God. I had to take off 10 days and sit down. I had to sit at his feet. And he said, Al Thomas, I'm going to do something miraculous in your life, but you got to give me all the praise, all the honor. He says, you're already a humble young man, but I'm going to humble you more. I'm going to put you in a situation you're not happy with. I'm going to put you in a house that's half the size your square footage, but I'm going to work a miracle. And I'm going to tell you what kind of miracles he worked, because I had to humble myself because he's my leader. And he took me and he sold my house for way over, I mean, way over the average house in there. I mean, way over. And he said, now, you know, I want you to know that I'm in control, but see, here, I'm learning. It's like we're learning here. I had to learn that, to sit back and watch him work something I couldn't do. And he said, look, not only top of that, the guys are going to buy it. They ain't going to have it to praise. You're going to have the highest old house in here. And then I'm going to humble you. I'm going to humble you some more. I'm going to put you in a neighborhood you're uncomfortable with. But then again, I'm going to raise you up later, but I'm going to humble you to go back to work to help more people become successful, because your mind, your ego, your pride, you're doing good, Mr. Thomas, but man, you got so many people like yourself, I got to help. So I have to humble myself to stay humble to help people like you. Does that make sense? So as you do that, you attract the right kind of people that want the opportunity. So right now I'm in an attractive mode. I'm in attractive mode because I'm not comfortable. I got too comfortable. It's not the first time I've done this in my life. I made it happen with his help. I'm gonna do some miraculous. I'm gonna do some other miraculous things I can't talk about. For 10 days, he had me. All you can do is your conference call. Don't say nothing to nobody and watch me work. So it's the same concept. I had to learn. You have to learn what it means to be a leader. And by listening to these conversations we had today, by taking notes and go back and regurgitating, it's going to help you as an individual become a better leader. So Al Thomas had to sit down and look at myself and from the inside say, it's like that hologram. I looked at myself and say, okay, what do I need to work on as a man? What do I need to work on as a leader? What do I need to work on as a father? What do I need to work on to become a better me? Does that make sense? And I had to look at myself from the outside in and say, okay, you're going to have some challenges. You've been through this. But then again, I'm putting you through these challenges to make you stronger. So everything you go through is a challenge. I'll never forget what Pastor Boyd once said. He said, either you're coming out of a problem or you're coming out of a problem, you're heading toward one. But the key is how you handle it. Becoming a leader is, how do you handle becoming a leader? You become a leader by looking within and say, okay, I know what I need to work on. I know what I need to work on, and then go to work to make it real. See, that's now you because you worked on yourself, you become a more of an attractive person that people want to be with. And by being that person, now you can deliver the goods of knowledge and information to say, listen, I want to follow him. I want to follow her because they know what they're doing. It's like me going on a safari in Africa. The first time I went on a safari in Africa, I've been in Africa twice. I just didn't go out in the jungle. I'd have got killed. Hey, I got a guide. Somebody's been there before, could teach me. Don't go here. Let's go this way. I know what this means. I know what that sign is on the ground. Hey, I can tell you what kind of animal is that footstep. So I want a leader, and that's what a leader is. A leader is that guidepost to help you make it through the other side of the jungle. And the beautiful thing about it is that the more you study, the more you study your trade, the more you study our profession, the better you get at it. You got to study to show yourself improvement. A workman, oh my God, you just study. Look at the books he's talking about. Study. I know everyone knows Mr. Failer. I mean, you have to study. Julie Lewis is a study. Miss Natasha, she studies. She's got book after book. And the thing about it, we have a standing, but you got to study. Look, a doctor. A doctor has to go to school 7-8 years to study, 10 years to study medicine to come out to what? Practice medicine, which means he or she doesn't understand it all, but they're practicing. A lawyer go to law school 4 to 5 years to come out to what? Practice law, which means they don't know it all. They're practicing. And the more upset you are when you go to the office, the more they charge you because they're practicing on your wallet. So watch this. 8 years, 4 years to practice. ACN says, boys and girls, you don't even need to go to college. Just go to listen to the leadership, and you can practice your power of your network marketing business and make more than both of them combined. But you got to practice this business. And practices mean going out and getting names and numbers. Practices isn't how do you take a note. Practices isn't showing up on these conference calls. Practice isn't taking notes and having journal after journal after journal. It blows my mind when I get around people who say they're a certain leader and they got no journals. They have regurgitated enough. I got tape after tape. I mean, I got cassettes. I got journals. Oh, there's a prospect calling me. The whole idea is becoming an attractive person to draw that person to you. See, you got to draw them to you by, the book says, well, love it, draw them to you. See, so as I'm sitting down the last 10 days, God said, let me tell you something about yourself. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to show you, and you're going to learn. So I'm in school right now. I just got out the other day, and I called a couple people. I couldn't talk for 10 days. All I could do is my conference calls because I was on a submission to look inwards to what I need to work on inside of Al Thomas to get me to the next level. Does that make sense? So as a leader, how much time a day are you putting into devoting into building you as a person? How much studying of the industry are you taking? Building an empire. That's one that Mr. Shaquille Cooper is talking about. And we all got different books we read, but the key is how much time are you investing into you, investing into you, investing into you, reading, studying, and then implementing. See, that's the key. See, a lot of people only take an hour a day, which we do in this call. Now they're finished with it. And they think they're wondering why they haven't grown their business. They're not doing anything further than that. My son this morning said, Dad, what new book are you reading? I said, son, I got 4 I'm thinking about ordering, because he knows his dad reads 3 books a month, regardless. And I'll go back and read and regurgitate some other books I read 2 or 3 years ago. One of the books I read religiously once a year is Think and Grow Rich, you know, and also Expanding My Territory. I can't think of the author right now, but I'm always reading. My most expensive book here is in my office is this one, Og Mandino, the trilogy. Now watch this. This book is leather bound. It was signed by Og to me personally. This book is number 343 out of 1,000. This book, I couldn't let go of this book for less than 6 figures. That's how important this book is and the value of this book. The question is, how many books do y'all have? How many books have you got autographed? How many books have you got in front of people say, man, I'm gonna sit at your feet and learn? See, there's a reason why I'm where I'm at, because I study. The Bible says study to show yourself. Some of y'all ain't studying nothing, but watching Bugs Bunny, eating bonbons on the couch with your wife or husband, playing with the dog and the cat, that ain't gonna get you rich. What did Shaquille Cooper said the other day on Wednesday? You know, laying up with somebody broke ain't sexy. It ain't sexy. It's stupid. And if she or he ain't on your team, y'all need to, hey, I ain't gonna say no more. But the beautiful thing is you gotta study. And most people don't study. They spend more time studying TV than they study. But thank you for that question. I know I got, because I had to talk about me, because I know in the last 10 days what has happened in my life, because I'm willing to go to the next level, but I had to give up, to go up. Great problem is, what are you willing to give up to go up? And so many people won't do that because they're too comfortable. You're too comfortable. You can't go nowhere. You can't. That's why I said some of y'all can't go where I'm going, because I know where I'm going, and I know y'all can't. Well, you know, because you're not willing to give up something. Sam Foster's gonna talk about tonight. He's sleeping on this floor. Now he's down there with the cold weather. Hey, some of y'all won't sleep on the floor. You won't do it because no, you're too comfortable. Lord Carmen, thank you so much for that question. Last question, and I'm gonna say goodbye. And then we're going to have happy hour tonight with Sam Foster. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And Mr. Foster, before you get on the call tonight, check your mailbox. Check your mailbox. That's all I'm going to say. Check your mailbox. I love to be Santa Claus. Last question. Anybody got else? What else y'all learned today? One more person. Just one more. Thank you for that, Swag. Thank you so much, sir. Say hello to Maya for me. One more question. One more question. What else you learned? Uh-oh. Did I stun them? You need to become the leader that you need to be, and you'll attract the people. One question? No? All right. Well, I'll tell you what, we're done. We're done. We're done. We're done. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Plant your flag. That's right, Mr. Dave. Plant your flag. And let me say one thing about the flag. There's a guy named Jim Boyd, my first MLM company, was a big coach in Kentucky. And he said something I'll never forget. And he's a good old country boy. He says, look, the higher up the flagpole you go, the more your rear end is exposed, which is true. So the more success you come, in other words, the more success you come, the more people talk about you. The more people aim at you, the more people take a shot at you. Don't be afraid. Let me tell you, I've been out to dinner a couple times. Once was about 4 years ago. People at the next table talk about me. They didn't know who I was. You know why they were talking about me? Because I was doing something. You know, people don't talk about losers. They don't talk about people not doing nothing. They always talk about winners. Right now, we're chastising what? Elon Musk. We're chastising. Who cares? What are you doing to change your family tree? See, that's what I love about you guys. Please do something with what you got today. Please go back to the site and listen to it again. Please pull yourself up by the bootstring. Please study your occupation. Please understand our industry. And please don't let your ego and pride get in the way of you going out there talking to people. God bless you guys. Have moved the ball forward. We'll see everybody tonight at 6 o'clock at happy hour.